Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
All right. Set up here. All right. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come talk. I know a few of you had a chance to meet everybody. My name is Klinkhart. Born and raised here in Anchorage. You might recognize me for my 17 years as a law enforcement officer. I was a detective in the Anchorage Police Department for 17 years. Worked homicide, missing people. And I actually started the cybercrime unit at the Anchorage Police Department. There was only 2 of us originally. Now they have a unit of about 6 people who do a lot of pretty cool stuff. But that's not really why I'm here. What I'm here actually is I own a computer consulting firm. We're basically a DigitalSecurus. We are a computer security firm. We've been around for about 8 years. And basically, kind of marrying my background in cybercrime, in computer security, and in dealing with the lost and missing. I worked in numerous homicide cases, missing people cases, missing kid cases. And one of the things that people don't realize is that when somebody goes missing, whether it's an endangered adult or a child, initially the cops get involved, we get involved. The problem is that our job is to investigate if there's a crime. Most places don't have a way to actually locate missing people in an easy way. Cops, we are really bad at not using technology. I had the first laptop in my police car, but that was just because I wanted to have a computer. So trying to get law enforcement to utilize technology is very difficult. And it's taken years to even get cars with computers in them. So one of the things that's happened in the cases I've worked of missing people in this state, including Bethany Carrera, spent a year looking for Bethany. Samantha Koenig, this gentleman here who disappeared a year ago on Mount Marathon. Okay? What happens when somebody disappears is the police come, they do their best, but they're limited in the way of resources and time in what they're doing. Oftentimes, it falls to the families, if you're lucky enough to even have people who want to be able to help. In the case of Bethany Carrera, her family's best friends who worked search and rescue on Mount McKinley, Denali, came down to actually put it all together. And what happens is they use radios, walkie-talkies, maps, and check-in sheets, and people come and go, and they try to coordinate what can be, start with a few searchers. In Bethany's case, it got to be over 300 searchers at one time. Missy Johnson. About 6 months ago, almost a year ago, when Miss Baker disappeared downtown, she was walking from her home and just disappeared. I was out running on the coastal trails, and when I'm out and about, I look for people. Unlike other people look at flowers, I look for bodies. Okay? Well, and unfortunately, in Ms. Baxter's case, she was found, but not for somebody one of her friends was out there walking around just offside the trail. I knew she was somewhere along the coastal trail, I just didn't know where. And what we say is that missing person is never where you looked, they're always where you didn't look. And that's important because like in Bethany's case, with 300 searchers searching this whole town, those of you who were around in 2003, remember her posters everywhere? They told me where she wasn't. She wasn't in Anchorage, so I knew that she had to have been taken somewhere, in this case, north of Anchorage. So they were able to eliminate things. That's really, unfortunately, it's not like TV. It's about eliminating where somebody is and getting people to help. So what we came up with as we're talking about this problem is why are we still stuck in using old tools to solve problems like missing kids? So what we did was we came up with this idea called iTAV. So the idea is to harness what everybody already has. One of the problems is we all want to help. And most people in this town want to help when somebody's missing. Two problems. Number one, National Center for Missing and Exploited Kids has an app that will tell you about missing kids all over the country. Nothing wrong with that except for the fact I only want to know if right now there's a missing kid outside the PAC, a kid's missing. I want to know what's something local, something I can affect. So the idea is to be able to push things to people who have the app, and it'll know if I'm in Anchorage, I only want to know about missing people here. If I'm in Arizona, I would only want to know about that. And if that's the point of I'm just looking, that helps. That's a huge help, because then I can then say to my friends on Facebook and Twitter, hey, I got this in my iTAV. Look for this little blonde boy wearing a Dodgers uniform. If you see him, let us know. That's huge in and of itself. It's better than what we can do now. But beyond that, being able to say, hey, you know, let's stop for a minute. Why don't we all go look? All of us in this room could go search outside the PAC and in the park out here pretty damn quickly. Much better than I could showing up in my police car and walking around. And being able to get that immediate feedback was the idea. So what we really wanted to do was to have a system that would be a nonprofit, because the idea is, again, families can't afford this. You know, they're in the middle of already a crisis. And so if it's put upon them to put together their own search, or when you have volunteer search teams, don't get me wrong, Anchorage has a volunteer search team. There's only about 12 of them. Good people. And they've been working with us to try and develop this. But they think the idea of having 12 of them is great. But if they can have 120 people show up, that's even better. The problem is most of us don't know how to search, or we're not sure what to do, we don't know where to go. This would solve that. Being able to literally push a button and say, I want to join the search. Or, you know, after we're done with the pizzas, let's go ahead, all of us, and maybe we'll just go through the park once. And we can at least say, hey, we looked, and we didn't find anything. Again, we know where we looked. Now we know where we didn't look, the other side of the building. So we wanted to come up with an app that basically was an app that you could download and buy for a couple of bucks, use the money to support the servers and the software. The actual software could come down essentially on a laptop or a tablet for a police department or a family or a volunteer search team. They would then coordinate everything from that. And the idea would be they could basically run it off of a laptop, they could get it from the iTAV server, and then push out the notification. That happens to be Marie McClunsky. She's still missing. That was a case that I was involved with a number of years ago. We'll be able to push that out to everybody. So now we know. We can then, of course, decide, okay, now I'm going to push it out to all my friends on Twitter and Facebook. We've immediately harnessed something beyond what the Anchorage Police Department can do, beyond what the search teams can do, and in some cases beyond what even the media can do. Okay? We can get that detailed information that we don't have to wait for the next go-around of the media cycle. Our concept is to be able to have some sort of platform, starting very simple with basically a map. The stars where the person is missing from. If you decide that you want to do more, you want to volunteer, you show up on the side. Here's my list of volunteers. And volunteers could be listed in any number of ways. We have a couple of cool ideas I can talk about. But let's just say that we get the volunteers. We just draw the area where we want to start. I'm coordinating this from the laptop or from the tablet. And I just basically say, okay, Glenn, you do this one. Janet, you do this one. Lily, you do this one. And it geo-tracks that and sends it back to me. So what do I know now? I know where I haven't searched. Now I know where I've searched. Know what's wrong with one of them. Bidger didn't do a very good job, did he? But he helped. And that's important, because now we know at least. So what I would then do is I would probably send him back or say, hey, you can do this, or I get somebody else. One of our guys on our team said, you know, you could even put an algorithm in to grade people's ability to search, and the better points you get, the higher ranking you are when you show up as a volunteer. Make it almost sort of like a game. Okay? If you're a better grid searcher and you do a better job, then you're going to get a higher ranking. And again, now we can then expand this well beyond quickly with the number of people. People could check in, come out, and go. One of the problems with searches, we're always afraid we're going to lose a searcher because they check in but don't check out. Or they don't check in at all. We don't know who's out there. This way they can usually check in simply with the app and check out. Or if they leave the grid and say, are you done? Because we're also going to be done via their phones. I'm probably out of my time. I got some more slides. If anyone wants me to continue, I will. Otherwise, I'll take questions.
Keep on trucking.
Okay, keep on trucking. All right. So our philosophy of this idea is that we're creating a nonprofit that's actually separate from my other company. But the idea is every penny would go into this so that if you had a missing child and you said, hey, there's the software, you download it, and you can immediately start a search and get people involved, you shouldn't have to pay for it. If you're a police department, I think you should have to pay for it. Okay? Government could pay for this. Law enforcement could use this to search fields for evidence, all kinds of things. We have a whole list of other ideas that it could be used for, but ideally this would be something, it needs to be pushy or dummy. Because you're talking about somebody that needs to kind of coordinate this who may not have any experience in coordinating it. So literally, grab Glenn, search this area. Grab this, search that area. And all any revenues we put back into development, upgrades, server maintenance, we have a whole bunch of other things. So what am I asking for? Well, we have approached several app companies, including a couple here in Alaska, and they want money. Go figure. I don't blame them. So basically our concept has been to present this. This is actually the first time I've presented this idea in public. So hopefully this is a good start. We hope to basically put this on Kickstarter to get enough money to be able to develop it as a nonprofit app. But we're thinking, why not present it to you folks, see what kind of creative ideas you do, see if we can come up with a small prototype to be able to present it to, again, show cops that this works, show people this works, show investors that this can work. Some other features that we thought of, again, away from a very simple basic module to work, would be one of the things, again, tracking our searchers, keeping track of the people who are helping you. Whether you give 5 minutes because you decide after this, I'll go ahead and walk around the block, you know, or I'm going to go ahead and spend 5 hours, or I'm going to leave and then come back again. We need to know. One of us thought, well, wouldn't it be great for those of you who don't know how to do a search, eventually built in a route plan. Okay, not only is Bittner going to do this area, but we're going to ask you to do this grid or this search. We call them swirl patterns and we call them grid patterns. Out of bounds warnings. If you go outside the bounds of what you've been asked to do, that way you get somebody who just kind of, you know, their ADD kicks in, they can't stay on, at least you know. Return to start. The idea is for those people, okay, I'm out searching and they're so busy searching they forget where the heck they are, can get back. We also talked about, again, somebody who leaves and doesn't check out. Because it's all based on their phone, the coordinator can call them and go, are you done? Are you okay? Is everything all right? Or if somebody finds something, the idea of adding the idea of push and pull to be able to say, in fact, that picture of that jacket that you saw in the video, I'm sorry, I formatted it for widescreen, was an actual jacket from a missing person. So if you came across that, you could say, let's push a picture back to the command center and go, is this anything like the... All right. Well, let's go search that part.
We okay?
All right.
Yay, thanks, Glenn.
Okay, I've been pulled off stages before.
I tell you what.